All right, ready to dive deep. We got to talk about the San Francisco 49ers defense.
Yeah, it's been a weird season for them.
This is a team that's supposed to be the definition of defensive dominance.
Right, they're supposed to make quarterbacks sweat every snap.
But this season, not even close.
Not even close.
You all requested this deep dive for a reason, and we're going to unpack it all.
Absolutely, there's a lot to unpack.
So let's start with this.
Okay.
The 49ers, historically, they've been known for their defense, right?
Oh, absolutely.
This isn't just a team that's had a couple of good seasons on defense.
No, not at all.
This is a franchise that's built on a foundation of defensive strength.
It's in their DNA.
So when we look at the numbers this season, and they are pretty stark,
Oh, yeah.
it's easy to see why people are hitting the panic button.
I get it, it's jarring.
This AP article we're looking at lays it out pretty clearly.
Yeah, it doesn't hold back.
The 49ers are giving up an average of 6.11 yards, on average, every single play.
6.11.
That is unheard of for this team.
It's practically unthinkable considering their history.
I mean, we're talking about the third worst in the entire NFL right now.
And just for some more context.
Yeah.
This is the fourth worst they've ever done through 3 games, like in their entire franchise history.
Wow. Okay, so this isn't just a little blip on the radar. This is serious.
It's a 5-alarm fire defensively for the 49ers.
So the question is why? What's going on here?
Right, because this isn't just bad luck or a few bad plays. Something's fundamentally different.
And that's what we're going to figure out.
We've got to get to the bottom of this.
This article points to a couple of really glaring issues. Number one, lack of pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, their pass rush has been almost non-existent.
And then the run defense, oh boy.
It's like they've forgotten how to tackle.
So let's take these one at a time.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's start with the pass rush, or lack thereof.
Right.
This is a team that used to be known for their ferocious pass rush.
Yeah, they were relentless.
Quarterbacks were terrified to step on the field against them.
They had every right to be, honestly.
But this year, it's like they've forgotten how to get to the quarterback.
It's like they're playing two-hand touch back there.
The numbers are pretty startling.
They don't lie.
They're ranked 19th in the league in pressure rate, meaning they're only getting pressure on the quarterback about 21% of the time.
21.3% to be exact?
And if you compare that to the last 5 seasons where they've consistently been in the top 11.
Top 11, yeah.
That's a huge difference.
It's night and day.
And it shows on the field.
Oh, absolutely. You can see it.
So that's issue number 1.
All right. So what's next?
The run defense, which seems to be just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah, they're getting gashed out there.
Like historically bad.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
This article, and I couldn't believe this when I read it,
Obviously.
they're on pace to have their worst year in terms of yards allowed per carry since Kyle Shanahan took over as head coach.
Since 2017, that's saying something.
We're talking about a team that prides itself on stopping the run.
Right, that's their bread and butter, or at least it was.
And now it's like they're getting run over by a herd of buffalo every single game.
It's like they're stuck in mud.
So we've got 2 major issues here.
2 massive issues.
The pass rush is non-existent.
Right.
And the run defense is historically bad.
It's a recipe for disaster.
So what does it all mean? Is this the end of the 49ers dynasty as we know it?
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay, fair enough.
But it's definitely a cause for concern.
Big time.
This team is built on their defense, and right now, that defense is missing in action.
Yeah, it's like their identity has been flipped on its head.
Way it has.
They've gone from being the hunters to the hunted.
And to make matters worse, they just got hit with a huge blow.
Javon Hargrave.
Exactly. Talk about adding insult to injury.
Season-ending injury, out for the year.
Brutal.
So, for those who might not know,
Yeah, fill us in.
why is Javon Hargrave's absence such a big deal?
Okay, imagine this. You have this defensive line, right? And they're good.
Right.
But then you add Javon Hargrave, and suddenly that line becomes a nightmare for offenses.
He's a difference maker.
Exactly.
Like one guy who can change the entire dynamic of a game.
100%. He demands double teams. He blows up plays in the backfield.
He makes everyone around him better.
Exactly. He's the anchor, the heart and soul of that defense.
Okay, so losing him is a massive blow.
It's a huge loss.
Yeah.
And you can see it in Kyle Shanahan's words. He's devastated.
All right, so now they're missing their anchor.
The cornerstone of their defense, gone.
What did they do? How do you even begin to replace a guy like that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It's not an easy question to answer, that's for sure.
No, it's not, and I don't think there is a simple answer, to be honest.
Because you're not just replacing his talent. You're replacing his leadership, his experience, his presence on the field.
It's like trying to replace a legend.
So, where do the 49ers go from here?
Well, That's what we're going to dive into next.
All right, because I'm dying to know.
Me too, believe me.
Because right now, it feels like the 49ers are at a crossroads.
It's a defining moment for their season, that's for sure.
They can either crumble under the pressure,
Yeah.
or they can find a way to rise above it.
They need to dig deep and find that 49er magic again.
But the clock is ticking.
Doc.
And the rest of the league is waiting to see what they're made of.
The pressure is on, no doubt about it.
So where do the 49ers go from here?
Well, they've got some tough decisions to make, that's for sure.
Like, what are their options at this point? Can they actually salvage their defense?
Not going to be easy, I'll tell you that.
Because you look at the situation, and it feels kind of dire.
It's definitely not ideal.
They've got these major holes on defense, and now they're missing their most important player.
The timing couldn't be worse.
So, realistically, what can they do?
Well, one option is to just go all in on blitzing, try to manufacture pressure with extra guys.
So basically, just try to overload the offense and hope for the best.
In a nutshell, yeah.
But that's risky, right?
It is, because if the blitz doesn't get home, you're leaving your secondary out to dry.
And we've seen what happens when teams try to cover 49ers receivers one-on-one.
Yeah, it usually doesn't end well for the defense.
Okay, so blitzing is an option, but it's a gamble.
A big one.
What else can they do?
Well, they could try to bring up some younger players, see if they can catch lightning in a bottle.
So basically hope that some unproven guys can step up and fill the void.
It's a long shot, but sometimes you get lucky.
Right, but that seems like a huge risk as well.
There's no risk-free option at this point, to be honest.
So it sounds like the 49ers are in a tough spot no matter which way you slice it.
They're between a rock and a hard place, that's for sure.
But hey, maybe they can pull a rabbit out of their hat.
Stranger things have happened in the NFL.
That's true. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Exactly. This is why we watch the games.
Because you never know what's going to happen next.
Especially with a team like the 49ers, they always keep you guessing.
All right, so we've talked about the defensive struggles, the loss of Hargrave, the tough decisions facing the 49ers.
We've covered a lot of ground.
But there's one more thing we need to address.
The elephant in the room, so to speak.
Exactly, and that's the Super Bowl.
Ah, yes, the ultimate goal.
Because let's be real, the 49ers, they're not playing just to make the playoffs.
They're playing for a championship. That's the expectation.
So the question is, can a team with a defense playing this poorly, even with all the talent they have on offense, can they actually make a Super Bowl run?
It's a fair question, and honestly, it's tough to say.
Because on the one hand, you've got a team with a history of success, a great coach, a dynamic quarterback.
They've got the pieces in place to make a deep playoff run.
But on the other hand, you've got a defense that's giving up points like it's their job.
And that's not a recipe for success in the playoffs.
So what's the verdict? Can they pull it off?
Well, I wouldn't count them out just yet. Because they've got something that a lot of teams don't have.
And that is?
Heart.
Yeah, this 49ers team, they've got a lot of pride. They're not going to just roll over and die.
So you're saying they're going to fight, claw their way back into contention?
I wouldn't bet against them, that's for sure.
So, a glimmer of hope for 49ers fans.
A glimmer, yes, but it's going to be a tough road ahead.
No doubt about that.
But hey, that's what makes it fun to watch.
The drama, the uncertainty.
Exactly. Anything can happen.
And we'll be here to break it all down for you every step of the way.
That's what we do.
All right, so as we wrap up this deep dive, let's leave our listeners with something to think about.
A little food for thought, so to speak.
Here's the question. What do you think is the key for the 49ers to turn their season around?
Is it fixing the defense? Is it getting healthy? Is it something else entirely? Let us know what you think, because we're all in this together.
We're all in this wild ride called the NFL season.
And right now, the 49ers are definitely one of the most interesting teams to watch.
No doubt about it. They've got all the makings of a great comeback story.
Or a cautionary tale.
Only time will tell.
All right, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive.
Until next time, keep your heads up and your eyes on the prize.
It's crazy how quickly things can change in the NFL.
It really is. 1 minute you're on top of the world, the next you're fighting for your life.
And the 49ers are a perfect example of that right now.
They're living proof that even the best teams can stumble.
But here's the thing I keep coming back to.
What's that?
This is still the 49ers we're talking about.
A team with a winning tradition.
A team with a coach who's known for his ability to adapt and overcome.
Kyle Shanahan. He's seen it all. And he's won a lot of games.
So, while the situation might look bleak right now,
it's definitely not hopeless.
I wouldn't count them out just yet.
Me neither. There's too much talent on that team, Too much fight.
And that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating to watch.
It's like a car crash in slow motion. You can't look away.
You know it's going to be bad, but you can't help but stare.
And you're just waiting to see if they can pull out of it at the last second.
Exactly, and that's the million-dollar question right now.
Will they, won't they? It's anyone's guess at this point.
And I think that's what we want to leave our listeners with today.
A little bit of mystery, a little bit of intrigue.
The 49ers season is at a crossroads.
A fork in the road.
And which path they take is still up in the air.
It's going to be a wild ride, that's for sure.
So buckle up, folks, and keep your eyes peeled.
Because you never know what's going to happen next with this team.
And that's what makes the NFL so great.
The unpredictability, the drama, the passion.
It's all there, week in and week out.
And we'll be here to break it all down for you.
Every step of the way.
Until next time, keep those helmets flying and those spirits high.
Because in the NFL, anything is possible.
Never say die.
And on that note, we'll catch you all next time for another deep dive.
Stay tuned, folks.